Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. Just a joy to be with you this morning. Nice to be with you. Nice to feel that presence shared among ourselves. When we come together in this spirit, it's really a foretaste of the higher spiritual realms. Never doubt this. A few things to keep in mind. First of all, tonight we'll have the New Earth study from 6 to 7:30. Happily invite you to join us. And then this next weekend coming up, we have two wonderful presentations. On Sunday evening, we'll be having John Shartle's presentation on the gentleman who was privy to UFO information from the government. I think you'll find it to be extremely interesting. It'll be Sunday evening, our topical conversation from 6 to 7:30 p.m. You'll get a reminder of that on Friday morning. But especially this Saturday, you will have received this morning's email concerning the invocation to the unified chakra. I can't tell you how important I believe this invocation is for our study. It'll be a study session from 10 to 1:30 this Saturday morning. I encourage you, please join us if you're at all able to do so. Make sure you download the Unified Chakra Meditation so you'll have it available. Let's begin. My dear friends, it continues to be such a joy to address you in these Sunday teachings as I see the happiness and the joy in you as you continue your spiritual progress. Today's teaching is a broadening of last Sunday's service. Last week, we focused on everything that has ever happened to you in your past or is presently happening to you is meant to be for your growth. Today, I want to broaden our growth through a series of relationships that I experienced last week with 5 people that I had never met before. I will begin the teaching with a Latin phrase that I remembered from high school, proceed to explain the energy that I experienced in these 5 encounters, and then address the roles that you and I have concerning this bringing of the light. Today's teaching is entitled, They Are Showing Up. They are showing up. So let's begin with the old Latin phrase that I remember from my high school days. The phrase is set in a rhyme. It is nemo dot quod non hot. Nemo dot quod non hot. The phrase is translated, you can't give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't have, which makes perfect sense. If you don't have something, then you can't give it. However, I prefer to look at it in a more positive side of the expression in this way. While it is true that you can't give what you don't have, it is similarly true, I think, that we can say you can give what you do have. You can give what you do have. Let's proceed. This statement, you can give what you do have, was beautifully exemplified to me in an encounter I had last week with 5 people that I had never met before. 5 people last week that I had never met before. These 5 people ranged in age from a young man in his mid-20s to a woman in her early 60s. But what these people exemplified had nothing to do with age or gender. What each of them was clearly holding, what each one of them was clearly holding was the light. They were holding the light, this wonderful energy of the God presence. I was so moved. I was so moved by the purity of the way that they were in this spiritual presence that each one was holding. It was so clear, so apparent to me that they were holding the light energy, the God Spirit. Each one of them was in a different situation, but each one of them was bringing that higher light to that situation. They were showing up as the light. It reminded me of the beautiful book, Anna, the Grandmother of Jesus, channeled by Claire Hartshorn, wherein Anna would always describe Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and the people around them as ones who held the light. They held the light very tangibly, very joyously. This, I think, also is what Jesus meant when he said, his yoke is easy, and that which he carries is the light. What I felt was these 5 people seemed to be carrying the light in this very same manner. It was tangible, uplifting, joyful, and happy producing. As a result of these encounters, I then began to ask myself, well, what was it about these people? What was it about them that enabled them to show up as the light? Among the many things that I saw, I finally whittled them down to these 4. Again, perhaps maybe they pertain to you as you are holding the light. Again, you might want to jot them down as a barometer as to how you're doing. The first quality I saw was a calmness. It was a calmness. It was just an inner peace, but that inner peace came from a deeper presence within them. They were in touch with their inner God Spirit that enabled them to meet their situations, not just with a calmness, but truly with a presence. And this presence was a very welcoming presence. They seemed to want to be in my presence. In fact, they seemed to merge with my presence. The relationship, although new at the moment, was incredibly comfortable, as though we had known each other forever. It really felt like a relationship, not only in the light, but a relationship of the light, as though we were meeting each other in each other. We were meeting each other as the light in each other. The second quality was a sense of graciousness, not a sense of weakness, of being unreal, but a sense of graciousness. And with it, the ability to do exactly what each situation seemed to call for. A statement from these 5 people who were showing up as the light could be exemplified in the following: strong enough to be gentle, and yet gentle enough to be strong. It's a beautiful statement. Strong enough to be gentle, and yet gentle enough to be strong. There was a softness. There was a softness in the way that they were conducting themselves. But the softness was not construed as a weakness. Rather, they seemed to be in complete control of the situation. They were both gentle and strong at the same time. Remarkable. Which now leads me to the third quality with which they showed up. The third quality was absolutely clear, but not controlling. Actually, one of the 7 living words from A Course in Mastering Alchemy described their demeanor the absolute best. The word is command. They were in perfect command of themselves and were in perfect command of the situation. The commanding of the situation was from the light that was within them. The commanding of the situation was from the light that was within them. There was no effort in what they seemed to be doing. Truly, they seemed to be in the flow of the situation in which they were participating. In fact, they seemed to be the larger energy in which they were participating. Please listen closely. It was as if the flow was directing the situation. And because they were in the flow, they were in harmony with the flow and were commanding the situation from the light that was flowing within them. Let me repeat this. It was as if the flow was directing the situation. And because they were in this flow of energy, they were in harmony with it and were commanding the situation from the light that was within them. Yet this commanding of the situation was not a controlling. There was no force involved, but there was plenty of power. There was energy. And the energy seemed to be irresistible, not just by those in the light, but by everyone else in the situation. Again, no controlling, no force, just this irresistible light that seemed to envelop everything. True. The fourth quality, there was one last quality that was also clearly apparent, and it is the same quality that is the last quality of Eckhart Tolle's book, The New Earth. That quality was enthusiasm. Enthusiasm. I think now you know the etymology of the word enthusiasm. It comes from two Greek words, en, which means in, and theos, which means God. So literally, enthusiasm simply means to be in God. That's what these 5 people of the light seem to be to me. They seem to be in God. They seem to be in the God spirit. Such a presence, so natural, so clear, so inviting, is a good example for each one of us to know that, well, there's a lot of other people who are enthusiastic, who are in God, just as you are. So nice to see that others are just as enthusiastic as you are to be in the God spirit. When we see others in the light, are they not an inspiration for us who want to be in this similar light? There's one other aspect to their enthusiasm as bearers of the light. Their enthusiasm, just like yours when you were in the light, was infectious. It just exuded from them. It exuded from them as they held the energy in the situation. For the moment, everyone seemed to be enthusiastic. Everyone seemed to be in God at that moment through the energy of those who were manifesting the light. So these were the four qualities that I noticed in the light bearers: a deep inner presence, a sense of graciousness, a command of the situation, and finally, an infectious enthusiasm. Now, as I mentioned, I had never met these five people before last week. But when I encountered them, I felt that I needed to sit down and not just see what was going on within them, but rather also to focus on my thoughts and perhaps maybe some of your thoughts that these five perhaps engendered within us. May I share with you, first of all, my first thoughts, and there are four of them. The first thought that immediately came to me was a great sense of joy in this wonderful realization of other people being in the light. The light is truly coming into people's lives. That's what I felt most happy about. Light was coming into people's lives that was far beyond what the light of the world is. I did not know these people. They were not in news headlines, but they were clearly bringing in the light. They were clearly ushering in the kingdom of God. They were showing up. They were showing up. It was such a reaffirming and reassuring delight, a delight to know that so many others, wonderful, wonderful people, are ushering in the kingdom of God. My second thought reminded me of an experience I had when I was a child. Perhaps you had the same experience when someone would say something maybe critical of you, and you would say something like, "It takes one to know one. Takes one to know one." Well, that's what I clearly felt in the light. It takes one to know one. And I felt quite good. I felt quite good that I could identify with each one of them. I could identify with the light because it was within me. And because it was within me, I could clearly see it in the others. And then it dawned on me, not only were they bringing the light to me, but I was also bringing the light to them. That I was just as a credible light to them as they were to me. I was just as much a credible light to them as they were to me. Again, words did not have to be exchanged. There was this natural knowing and appreciation. It was quite apparent. And what was really interesting to me was the effect that we would have on each other for the rest of the day. So that just as their light was with me for the rest of the day, I clearly understood that my light would be with them for the rest of their day. In a nutshell, we were extending the light, becoming a wonderful blessing to all others to whom we bring the light. Is this not the way that the light works? We bring the God Spirit one by one into the situations in which we're engaged. It's the way it works. My third thought was the importance of supporting such people. And so what I did was I communicated to them my appreciation of their carrying the light. I made it a point to be in touch with them, to tell them the impact of their light. Such encouragement and appreciation are very helpful to those carrying the light, for they become the signpost. They become the signpost of what we are doing and being a blessing of our source energy to all of life, that we are instruments of that God Spirit. It was such a joy to be supportive to these bearers of the light. My fourth thought was a rededication to what I am doing, so that when I say that we are bringing heaven to earth, that we are ushering in the kingdom of God, when we see such enthusiasm from others, boy, that makes us enthusiastic as well. It helped me to understand the importance of what I personally am doing and what Now Creations is doing. We are here to bring the light to the world with all of the joy that such experiences can bring, lighting up the way for humanity and the planet. So those were my thoughts. May I suggest that you might be thinking in a similar manner? And let me elaborate just a little. First, I suggest that you are very much becoming a blessing of the light. I believe that you are now manifesting a wonderful presence of the God light, and that you too are showing up. You too are showing up. You have done your work. You have profited from your diligence and your discipline, and you are now rising in the light energy and bringing heaven to earth in a way that you never did so in the past. You are doing this. Secondly, would you not say that you are also now expressing the four qualities of light that I mentioned with the light bearers? First of all, would you not say that you have a deeper calmness, but a calmness not just, oh, I'm calm, a calmness of presence, an internal calmness, a depth of serenity that was not there in the past? Do you not feel that you are now engaged in such inner presence? And then secondly, are you not more gracious, more gentle than you've ever been, more understanding of others? And yet you have a strength. You have a strength that is very, very commanding in any situation. You are gentle enough to be strong and strong enough to be gentle. Don't underestimate yourself. And would you not say again that you are more and more in control, in command, not only of your own life, but you are also in command of the situations in which you are engaged? Are you not just more and more doing the appropriate things that each situation calls for? For you are in command of the light that is within you. And lastly, I know that you are enthusiastic. I know that you are enthusiastic, that you like being in God. You like bringing that God Spirit into the events of your life, happily ushering in the kingdom of God. In a nutshell, would you not say that it takes one to know one? and you are becoming that one that knows. You know other light bearers because you now have become one with them. Have you not? Yes, of course. It takes one to know one. And you now are one of those who are showing up. In conclusion, I began this teaching with the old Latin phrase, nemo dat, quod non hat. You can't give what you don't have. There was a time when perhaps maybe you did not have the spirit to give as you now do. But now you do. You are a being of the light. And you know that you are. You know that you are. And yes, of course, we are beings of the light together. Hasn't this been the purpose of today's teaching? Realizing that there are so many other light beings beyond simply our immediate group. Is this not such a wonderful thing to know? That others and us, that we are showing up as the light of the God Spirit. This is terrific. And it's the truth. Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. Let's move into our meditation by just being happy. Just being happy. Just knowing this presence within you. Just being happy. Being in the God Spirit. Please begin by focusing on your breath and let it bring you into this joy. Open yourself sincerely. Move into your inner depth. Get everything else out of your mind. Move into yourself. Move into your center. Open up. Open up to the depth within you. Give full attention. Full attention. Get out of your mind. Open up into your soul. As you do so, do you not feel that presence in the very depth of your being? This is you, the God Spirit. You're so much more than your human personality. You are the God Spirit. Would you just say those words to yourself? I am the God Spirit. I am the light. This is not fantasy. This is the truth. Embrace it. And are you not gracious? There's a lot of synonyms for gracious. I like the word understanding. You're very understanding of what's going on. There's a graciousness in the way you're now conducting yourself. You don't get flustered anymore. Your graciousness is supported by the presence of the God Spirit within you. Would you just say that to yourself? My graciousness is supported by the strength, the power of the God Spirit within me. No judgments, no criticisms, no sarcasm, just gracious. Allowing. 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 With respectfulness. gracious. Not dumb, not stupid, not a doormat, gracious. And through the power of the God Spirit within you, as you present yourself graciously, you are in command. You are in command, not as the bull in the proverbial china shop. You're in command of what is necessary for you in your part in the situation. You know what you're doing. You're in command from the gracious presence within you, not control, in command. You're in the flow of the situation. You're in the movement of the energy of the situation, not forcing, but powerful. Powerful, because you're in command from the presence of the light, graciously expressing as you. You're in command. And I know you're enthusiastic. You love being in the God Spirit. There's just no greater presence, no greater joy than being in God, in that incredible presence at the very center of your being. Not just being in God, but being in yourself, being in yourself. When you are in God, you are in yourself. Come on now, come on. Let's get with it. And the beautiful joy of being in God, enthusiastic. Are you not seeing yourself rising in the light energy? You're different. You are rising in this wonderful feeling of the light energy. And just put your hand over your sternum. Just say to yourself, I am rising in the light. It's what I've always wanted. I am rising in the light. I am rising in my light. There's 4 wonderful qualities of calming presence from within. A graciousness that is built on strength. A commanding presence without force. And just that, happy enthusiasm. It takes one to know one. It takes one to know one. Return now to the rhythm of your breathing. Just nice, easy breathing. And would you just notice how good you feel, how elevated? You're in the light. With that, let me invite you to gently breathe your eyes open. Happy, nice smile on your face. Who would have ever thought that that little childhood game, takes one to know one, would help us to look at each other and to know each other as such a one. Makes it pretty easy to say, huh? I am an eternal being of light and love. Thus, only good can come to me, and only good can come from me. And we are eternal beings of light and love. Thus, only good can come to us, and only good can come from us. Namaste.